now we're just going to have a Q&A session with both of our speakers. So I'm going to hand the mic over to you, and both stand here. Yeah, and then we've got our roving mics out here. We've got a question right over here to start with Nina.
Thank you. Yeah.
I always love hearing about how you're a leadership coach. Mm-hmm. So one thing I'm trying to understand is how you balance that with marketing and acquiring clients when you can't tailor your message specifically to one type of group, and you also can't market in particular places in quite such a easy way when you're
That's a really good question. What I've started to do is to use the fact that I'm a nicheless coach. In the beginning, I was quite shy of it, and I just wanted to say, oh yeah, I'm a general coach. I'm a personal coach. I just wanted to cover it up. But I've actually started talking to people and saying that life doesn't fit into neat little boxes. It actually starts to overflow. And so the fact that I can help you with your relationship, and I can help you with your career, and I can help you with other aspects of your life means, for me, I'm more of a whole coach because I can adapt to all the spillage from the little neat areas. So I've started to use it as a way of selling myself to people. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Got a question down here with Olivia.
Mine's for Heeral. It's so great to see you because we met 2 years ago and now I'm seeing my file.
I know, it's been 2 years.
Amazing. So my question is how you manage workflow. Because it looks as though some of these contracts that you have with companies could be quite a lot of work at one time. And so how you currently manage or how you intend to manage when you say get 3 big corporate clients at once and they all want a whole lot of workshops with lots of hours involved. What you're currently doing or what you plan to do to manage that?
Okay, so one of my tricks is that the workshops that I've been running so far, I've written them, so it doesn't take much work to kind of just do them again. I haven't needed to tailor them too much for specific clients, but should that happen, then yes, that would create more work. When it comes to the coaching, what I'm finding is, even if a big corporate client was to send people my way, they don't like spending lots of money all at once. So they send people step by step, it's piecemeal. So I don't think I will ever be in a position where I've got 3 companies that want me to coach people and I've got to be doing 30 hours a week. It just wouldn't happen that way. They don't send everyone all at once. What I'm trying to do is get them to realize that running workshops is part of the training that they need to be providing their people. But the coaching comes as a support to that workshop, because when you have trainings, people usually, it's very difficult to implement what you learn on a training workshop. After a few days, you settle back into your routine, it just doesn't happen. So what I'm trying to do is say to them, let me run the workshops for your guys, and then I'll be there to provide backup support to make sure that the time that they've taken out from your office is worth it, that they implement those changes. So at the moment, the workflow has been completely manageable, but I'm still, we're the newbies standing up here. We're still at the early stages of our businesses, and I would say that I am too. So I'm not fully utilized at this point, but I'm thinking that probably by this time next year, I intend to be. If I have too many coaching clients, I've got 1 or 2 associate coaches who want to work with me. So I know that I'll be able to say to them, I've got a bit too much work here. Would you like this client? They're people, that's one of them is my own coach. I've been working with her for 2 years and I would trust her with any of my clients. So it's just about building up that, so for your own business as well, having an associate coach that you could work with should you need to.
Another question. Here we go. We have one at the front here, Karen.
Hi, this is a question for Carrie. First of all, I love what you had to say. It's resonant on so many levels. And I love the quote by her. So at the end, I'll tell you about that later. Okay. My question is about, as you were a nicheless coach, and I couldn't help thinking the naked coach, in my head. As you're a niche coach, where did most of your first clients come from?
Well, I started off, like I think was mentioned already before, in the life coaching directory. It's just that what I started is I started coaching everyone. I know that often it's said to coach people that inspire you, but I actually found I quite adverse, weird thing to say, but I actually learned quite a lot from my clients that don't inspire me, that frustrate me, irritate me, because I start thinking, what is it about me that's coming up here with this client? I just want to focus with all the love in the world, but you know, it's interesting. So I would coach everybody, and to a certain extent, there's certain people that I won't coach. I've decided I do not coach people who are taking antidepressants. That's one thing that I've learned. I've decided I won't coach for my own personal reasons. But apart from that, I pretty much coach anyone. And I love the fact that I coach sports people and business people and all sorts. To me, I find it really exciting. Does that explain it? Oh, they came to me, basically, I do networking. I'm a great believer in networking. I like getting out there and meeting people. And that's how I get a lot of my clients, is by networking. And, you know, some come through your website, some come through directories. But for me, mainly, it's networking. And getting out and talking about your business is so good because it is like an elevator pitch. You learn to be able to talk about your business in a really quick time with somebody. And it's good practice. So I'm a great fan of networking.
Could you share where you might do some of your networking, perhaps both of you?
Yeah. So some of my networking started initially with the first company I built a partnership with. They're HR and recruitment outsourcers, so they put me in front of their clients, and that's where I did my some of my corporate networking. So it's like Catherine said this morning. If you can build up a joint venture, well, it doesn't have to be flashy, it doesn't have to be a big name. It's just whether it's a local business. I think, Caroline, you mentioned a clinic. Was it an acupuncture clinic or something?
No, it was a counselling clinic.
Counselling clinic, sorry. Build up partnerships, and that will automatically lead to networking opportunities.
And for me, I go to BNI. I know it's not for everybody. It's Business Networking International. I actually like structured networking. I like the fact that I'm the only coach in the room. And I like the fact that I actually am developing relationships with people that I would never normally have come into their orbit, as it were. And I also like the fact that they're professional people willing to pay professional prices for coaching, which is very important. And so I find that because I'm a member of BNI, that it's productive networking. But that's for me. I think there's a whole discussion on Facebook about it, and it's not for everyone by any means, but I find that it's very, very successful for me. And also the fact I've got to get up every week at some god-earthly hour in the morning and talk about, good morning everybody, I'm Carrie Brooks, I'm a life coach. That's every single morning. And you get used to saying, I'm Carrie Brooks, I'm a life coach, which in the beginning, when you repeat that over and over again, you start believing it and you start talking about your coaching and what's important to you. And for me, just having to get up there, and believe you me, I didn't like standing up for my 60 seconds at all in the beginning. It was a really, really productive thing for me to do.
Thank you. Thank you. Let's say, we've got a question at the back. Marcus is just making his way over. Lovely.
My name's Dan. I've got a question. I'd like to thank you for really interesting feedback. I've got a question for Heeral. I wonder how deal with this question of when you're coaching in a corporate environment, who's your clients, whether your client is the corporate or the individual. And secondly, how you deal with the issue of choice. And you have a chemistry session with your clients in the first world, they have a choice. If they're presented by the corporate, sometimes they can feel they have no choice.
Okay, so the first question was, sorry, I got stuck on the second one. What was the first part of the question again?
The first question was about who's your client.
Oh, right, yeah. So there has to be a really clear agreement between the HR department, the person who I'm coaching, and myself. So I would have a conversation. The first conversation would be with all three people, well, all three of us would be present, to kind of draw those lines and say what is disclosable to the HR department and what isn't. Because, you know, you can have a coaching session or a series of coaching sessions that have been booked to deal with a specific work issue. But life doesn't occur in silos. If my client then comes to me with something that's far more personal or that isn't appropriate to be shared, then it doesn't get shared. And anything that I think I am going to share with their HR department, I always tell them first, and I say to them, this is the kind of thing, the progress that we're making, this is the kind of thing they want to know about. Are you okay with me sharing certain aspects of what we've discussed? So because otherwise it'd be a breakdown in trust. They can't think that everything they say to me in the session is automatically going to be fed straight back to their HR person. So there has to be an element of trust and selective disclosure. Sorry. Yeah, maybe I've been fortunate. It depends on the person who you're coaching. And it depends on how clear you make it to them in the first place, not just to them, but to the HR department. But usually HR departments have got an idea of the fact that coaching is a relationship based in trust. So they know that there are limits to what I can tell them. And I think your second question was about whether or not the client even wants to be coached by me because they've been told to. Okay, well, when I speak to companies, before I take on any clients, I say to them that coaching shouldn't just be seen as a remedial tool, for sure, because if they're saying to their employees, we think you should have coaching because of X, Y, Z things that you're doing wrong, you're immediately putting their back up. If they're presenting coaching as an opportunity to learn or to grow, A, that person's more likely to want to do it. But B, if once they're in front of me, the chemistry isn't quite there, then I think I mentioned earlier about my associate coach, I would then send that person and say, look, I still want to be the coaching supplier for this firm, but I have somebody else that this individual could speak to because I think they might get along better, they might have the chemistry between them.
Cool. We've got time for one more before the break. Here we go.
Hi, I love both of your talks, Carrie and Heeral. Thank you so much. Really quick question, Heeral, to you. When you approach the corporates, do you approach the HR department? Is that how you come through to them, or is it via other avenues?
So for my workshops, I sometimes go in cold. If I'm going in with a cold approach, it's to HR departments. But if it's otherwise, it'll be as high up as I can go. Because quite often, even the people who I speak to in HR are not the decision makers. They're going to have to take that option to the CFO, sometimes even the CEO. It depends how small the company is. So I try and go as high up as I can with my proposals.
Fabulous. Let's give a round of applause for Carrie and Heeral. Okay, so we're going to have a 20-minute break. Back in the room at past to hear from our last speaker. Thank you very much.